Hey YouTube, it's the Code Pilot. Thanks for popping in today. So I got this rack, and it's kind of like my home lab mini data center thing going on. And it used to be here in my office, and because of that, it was just always hot in here because it produces a bunch of heat. So I moved it downstairs, and when I did that, I went through and I reformatted it, and I kind of put some wires in some places and all that, and I've made some updates since then. And I just want to go through and I've kind of changed the way that I've been doing development over the last maybe year or so, just moving a lot from the old bad habits that I kind of learned from starting when I was 14 years old. And I've learned a lot since then, and I wanted to try and take advantage of newer and emerging technologies and more scalable technologies, because most of the apps that I had made were just monoliths where I would put them on a VPS or maybe one VPS, and then when it came time to scaling, what I would have to do in that situation is I would have to move them to a new VPS with more resources. I didn't have them containerized or anything like that because it was just this one giant monolithic app. So what I've done in the meantime is I've containerized all of the projects that I have under development, and that's really made it a lot easier to kind of move through the sort of CI, CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, where all I have to do to update a project is just move it to GitHub, and then the cloud sort of infrastructure that I'm using automatically builds the application and deploys it. So it saves a lot of downtime for the customer maintenance periods. It saves a lot of my development time in having to manually move files, and oh, I forgot to move this file, and oh, this file partially transferred, and oh, only some of these files transferred, and then okay, yeah, they did transfer. Now I need to make sure that I go clear the cache, and now I have like a permissions issue. That it was just a gigantic headache. So I've changed it all to working with containers. And because of that and seeing that infrastructure, I kind of want an intermediary where it's not necessarily running on my machine, but I can kind of move it to the home lab. And I also want to set up some more robust monitoring and some other things. Like I have Home Assistant that I wanted to get going. I think I mentioned that in the last video about the VPS and being able to handle that. And I just want to rebuild that rack and get it in a better standpoint. Along those lines, the next series of videos that I'm going to be putting out is how to take hardware and not spend a fortune on it. I mean, you can easily spend anywhere from like $600 to make a mini rack to, well, I mean, millions of dollars if you want to build a data center, but it's not really sustainable for me here in my little apartment in beautiful Southern California. So the goal is to get that rack rebuilt, and in a way where it's just kind of like set it and forget it, where instead of going and manually installing VMs on there, we're going to use things like Terraform and Semaphore and just other sort of infrastructure as code systems to be able to deploy software to that virtual environment, where I just say, okay, I want this. I go in and click a few buttons, and it automatically does the networking. It automatically does the creation of the VM and all these other things that need to be done. That way, if I need to roll out updates, or if there's some kind of security thing and it needs to be done right away, I can use the automation tools instead of manually going in and just doing having to spend a day updating every single VM that I have living in that machine. So along those lines, today's video is just kind of be planning. It's going to be planning that rack out and where each thing is going to go. I'm going to use Excel. I know it. I've been working with it for years. If there's a better tool that you know of that I could do this, I tried looking at like Draw.io and a couple other apps. And part of the series will be using NetBox to actually document what is going on inside that rack, where each of the services are, where everything is, even down to the hardware level, even down to my desktop machine here, what kind of monitors I have, the camera that you're watching or that I'm recording this through right now, and all the different assets, so that I can actually tag those and know if something has to be returned, where do I return it? If I need to find something that I have packed away in some of these boxes back here, like where it is over there, which cable goes where, because I got a 28 port switch sitting in there. The server itself has like 15 network ports on it. So I want to make sure that I'm using the right port. I know where each cable goes. I know how much power I'm using. And I just want to know what's going on, as opposed to walking by my rack on the way to the kitchen and going, wow, this thing's a mess, I need to take care of it. Like actually getting it dialed in. And so that's what this series is going to be about. Thanks for watching. I hope you like it. We're going to get right into it. I have written on a piece of paper all of the different things that I can shove in that rack. I don't know if you can really see it there, but I'm just going to go ahead and take this list and put it into Excel and figure out how many items I think. I think I have 25 U's worth of items, but it's a 24 U rack. It's a like a half height rack. So I just want to go through and figure out what makes sense for each spot in that rack and where everything is going to go. That way it's not just a jumbled mess of wires and open gaps. I just had some things like a couple vent panels come in. I had a couple of those, like it's a 1U panel with like a brush thing. I'll probably put a picture on the screen here. Some over there. No, over there. Yeah, over there. And then I got a couple more patch panels there. There's like a couple 16 patches. I have a 24 patch. So just kind of clean it up and show you how to make some cables, show you how to patch all this stuff in, how to punch down keystone jacks, get those in. So just a little networking tutorial. And then along the way, we'll have NetBox set up for the documentation of it. We'll have free IPA set up, which is the authentication thing where we can use the same username and password for all of the different systems within that rack, which it's not really good to use the same username and password, but it's only technically one account. So if it gets compromised, it will change that account across all the different systems that are being used in there. Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring. It'll sit on top of Proxmox, and then I'll also show you how to back up Proxmox to the cloud, as well as back up the infrastructure itself to the cloud. So if there's some sort of disaster recovery or I get a new server or something like that, I'll just be able to pull everything down from GitHub and deploy and walk away for a little while and have some peace while recovering from a disaster. So for now, I'll just start making a list of these things here. We'll start over here, and my rack starts with 24 at the top, 23. And so we'll just do this down to 1. And then I'm going to map out each of the devices. So I have like a shelf with 13 keystone jacks and opening. And that's 1U. And then I'll put devices that aren't necessarily rackable, but I have them sitting on shelves in there. So that I know kind of which shelf they'll go on. So on that, I currently have a modem sitting there. And then I have a 12 patch panel. I have the 28 port switch. I got a 24 patch panel. And this is actually 2Us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge and center this right here, but I don't really want it centered, so it can just kind of sit like that so that I know that it's 2Us. I have another just like a regular shelf, and on top of that right now I have I think that's where my Nighthawk is sitting, which I'm using as a network access point. I have a 2U shelf, and this currently has, oops, merge the center. This currently on top of it has a Grandstream 8-port FXO, and that has my DVR slash camera system sitting there. So that puts us there. I have a power distribution panel. That's 1U. I have another 2U shelf. And what's sitting on top of that one right now? There might not be anything there. There might not be anything on one of these shelves. It might just be sitting in there. or I might have something on it, but I know for sure these 4 things are just kind of sitting in there. But we'll figure out what else we're missing here as we go along. It's fine. So then I have 2 brush panels, and that just kind of allows you to pass wires through it cleanly. I've got 5 of the vent panels. Ventilation through there. I've got a 16 patch panel. I've got another 16 patch panel. I have my 2U server. Actually, we'll just do server, and then we'll do this thing again. And then I have a UPS that also takes up 2Us. And then I have another shelf. Oh no, sorry, a 12 patch panel. So I have another 12 patch panel. So I think what we'll do, so right now I have this shelf with the 13 keystone jacks and opening. This is currently sitting on the top of the rack, and that works well because the modem sits on it, and the modem is like 1.5 U's, but because of the top of the rack and kind of where it goes, that just kind of works. So I'm okay with that going there. And then because it has that 13 keystone jacks, I can actually put the I can do the coax there, and because that's where the phone line comes in, I think that and the Grand Stream will actually fit on the same shelf. So I'll put the Grand Stream there too. And then into those keystone jacks, let me add a couple columns here. For the keystones, we'll do a coax in, so that can connect to the modem. That way it's just kind of like coming into the front of it. And then we'll have a couple of Ethernet pass-throughs, or we'll make a patch cable or something with a keystone, so that out of the front of that there'll be one coming out for the FXO into some sort of panel or something. Maybe I'll put the switch directly below that, and so put the switch below that, and then under that we'll just have the rest of the stuff coming from the switch into the patch panel, and then on its way down to everything else that's in there. I think is probably going to be the move, because we'll have to like patch one into the switch, and then that'll have to go into the server, or maybe just do one direct from there through like a brush or something. And this is kind of where the thinking comes into play, is because you just don't want to start putting like a bunch of stuff on there and it just kind of like goes everywhere. So the move here might be to put the switch. What would that look like? So if we got like, right, so if we do the shelf with the jacks, and then we do one of those jacks is going to have to go directly to the server itself into the port that's being used for the modem on there. So that wire is going to have to just go all the way down the side of the rack. I guess that we can do, I have like some cable management things over here. I think I have like this random box of like cable dealies that can be used. So maybe just put like, maybe one of these, I don't know how well that, but it's like a cable channel thing, and then just maybe put a couple of these on the side and have that wire like come down the side and then like into a panel that kind of goes like back to the server. That way it's like easy to remove but still clean. I think that'll probably be pretty legit. So I'll need to bring these with me when I go down all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's probably the move, is to then just put the switch. Maybe have some vent. I think I'm going to put a vent here. And then I'm going to put the switch in there. So that way, because heat being what it is, I don't want it like right up against that shelf. And that way it'll have like some ventilation to come through there. I think that'll probably be pretty legit there. So we'll have the vent. We'll do the Ethernet pass through keystones and like a coax there. And then we'll have this switch. And then right below this switch, I'm going to put this 24 port patch panel in here. And then below that, I'll put the brush panel, because I have SFP that comes out of that. And there's one SFP that comes up here and serves this for 10 gig fiber. And then there's one SFP that goes into the server itself in there. So I'm going to have, the SFP is going to pass through here. So we'll call this SFP1, and SFP2 will come out of here and go into the brush panel, SFP1, SFP2. And then we'll have another brush panel like down by the server somewhere, and we'll have those like re-emerge. Oh, we don't even need to, because it's going to go down and like into the back of the server, and then down and like out and up here. So we could worry about that other brush panel later on. So that, yeah, that's cool. Okay. Now the other bummer is that because of how the power works on that, is the power distribution that I have, everything plugs into the front of it, but the UPS, the power is in the back for the UPS, and the server's heavy and the UPS is heavy. So I have those two sitting on top of each other, because it's not anchored to the ground or anything like that, because I'm renting here and I don't want to drill holes. Well, I want to drill holes. I want to drill holes in the floor of this apartment, but I don't want to do that for reasons. So unless I went in there, pulled up the linoleum, cored some holes, and then put some anchors, and yeah, that's probably not the move. Anyway, so I know for a fact that this is going to go at the bottom, because I have an old Cisco 2911 that this right here sits on top of, to kind of like support the back of it, because it's a closet. So it's just wide, or just long enough for the server to go in there, and it's just wide enough for the rack to like sit right there, and then I can kind of like get my arms around it if I need to. But the point of doing this is to make all those connections kind of come through to where I don't need to get my arms behind there anymore. I can just plug everything in while I'm there and kind of have stuff go where I need it, and just very accessible. So then we have the UPS that sits right there. That's good. From the server, I kind of want to come out into, we could do a patch panel. We'll do a 16 port patch panel there. And then we'll do, let's get that 24. That's good. I kind of want to do some venting here for the server and the UPS. So I think, oh, that's merged, right? Okay, so kind of want to do venting there and there, and maybe here we'll do this. Nope. We'll do the brush panel here for the power wires to just kind of go. So that means that we'll put our power distribution panel here. And then we'll have the brush panel under it. So that'll just kind of pass through. We'll do a 2U shelf here. So we'll have the server going into the 16 here. We'll have the 2U shelf here. Okay, it's not merged, but I feel ya. We'll do a 16 here. we'll do the shelf there. We'll put the, we already got the granite stream, so don't worry about the modem either. The Nighthawk, I think will fit on 1U, but we have this brush panel here, and I kind of want that a little bit higher. So we're going to go ahead and shove this 2U, or this 1U panel here. And on that, we'll put the Nighthawk. And then we can do the shelf. This shelf, we'll put the DVR on the camera system on that. And that means that I'll need another patch panel here for the incoming. This will have all of the B and C connectors to the cameras there. And then we'll do some venting up here. And so it's a 24. What else needs? Should be fine. We'll do a 16 here, and we'll have the outs that come out of this switch just in case we have something that we need to plug in or test or something like that. And then we'll shove this 2U shelf right here. And then that should be pretty good. Let's do just for cleanliness, let's move this down here. Yeah, of course you can't, because I just did that earlier. But oh, because it's moving to its same thing. Yeah, okay. So shelf will go there, and then this vent right here will go here, and then we'll have a spare 12 patch panel. I mean, I could, the way that these shelves are done, the only way that I could really make that work is if I put it in front of the Nighthawk, which I could do that and just kind of have weird random Ethernet coming out, but I don't think I'm going to end up using this 12 patch panels. So this looks like the move. Oh, and then obviously out of this brush panel here, this is where our power stuff will go, and SFP. No, because again, that just goes out through the back. So you see it come through, you see it come off of the switch, and then you see it just go into a brush panel, and it's all it is. So, yeah, I mean, this seems to be the move. I have a label maker. I got a bunch of keystone jacks and cable and pre-made stuff that can be cut and spliced and moved. So, that's it for this video. Subscribe to see how well I fail at this. Let me, just so that you can see the full brunt of what's going on here. This guy here will be spare. We'll just put that right there for now. So this is kind of the rough layout of what it's supposed to look like. As far as whether or not it actually turns out like this, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and get started and pulling everything out of here. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Comment below what you would have done in this situation. Probably just what I should probably do is just hire someone to do this for me. But it's hard to make a YouTube channel hiring someone to do stuff for you. So we're going to struggle best through it together. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.